me tell you a story of one of our church members. Ava Adams recently passed away, and we celebrated her life. We celebrated her faith, and we heard about the week that she came to faith. She was having a broken down season of life, and she breaks down on the side of the road in tears after she read a church sign. And no one knows what the church sign said. I'm pretty sure it didn't just say, hey, join us for our service, or God answers an email, or some kind of cheesy little punny thing. I'm sure it was just scriptural truth being communicated on a sign. And she read this sign and she broke down in tears. And later that week, she came to trust Christ as her Lord and Savior. So think about how much our church signs say, and how much our own lives as little walking billboards for the faith. What do our lives say about the Savior that we love? So Jesus said some words to his disciples. He said, a new command I give you. When Jesus says new, everyone's like, stop, shh, Jesus got something new. What's he gonna say? Love one another. You can just almost hear the disciples thinking, that's not new. That's old. In fact, that's Old Testament, ancient. We know that one, love one another. That's like, duh. That's like kindergarten, Sunday school. We know love one another. Comma. Love one another, comma, just as I have loved you, Christ would say, just as I have loved you. Well, that puts a whole new spin on it. Especially because we have the rest of the New Testament. We know what happens. We know how Christ loves us. For God so loved the world, he gave us his Son. His Son loved us so much that he gave us his life on a cross. That kind of love, that's what you're asking? So the question for us to ask of each other now is, what does love require of you? That's the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 34 through 35. A new command I give to you. Love one another, just as I have loved you, so you must love one another. And by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So we're wrapping up this 5-part series asking these very important questions, these questions that will lead to fewer regrets, better decisions. This wraps up, and I think this culminates in like the most important of all the questions. Because all the other questions like, what's the wise thing to do? What story do I want to tell? All these parts of these questions, they have a certain ROI, return on investment. If you do the right thing, the right things happen and you will live a better life. This one is not so much guaranteed. Today's question is a relationship question. What does love require of me? And this goes above and beyond like the golden rule question, right? The golden rule, what's that? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we have that. That's in our scriptures. That's in our Bible. It's reflected in a whole bunch of other world religions as well. I mean, that just kind of seems like a give and take. This is a if-then opportunity. If you do this, then this will happen. Jesus takes the golden rule and he adds, love one another, comma, just as I have loved you. So I'm going to say this goes beyond gold. Like, what's more precious than gold? Like platinum? Like, so this could be like the platinum rule or the vibranium rule. This could be the Beskar steel rule, if you will. Like, this is so much more important than gold. This is not just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is love each other. But let me get real specific on how deep that love goes, how much I'm asking you of in that love. As I have loved you, love one another. And here's the beautiful part about this. When Jesus says, a new command I give to you, the word command, you could stop right, hey, Jesus, only God can make commands. So are you saying you're God? If you've been paying attention, been kind of leading up to this moment, all along I've been talking about doing a new thing, and you can't put new wine in old wineskins. He's been setting the scene for this moment. A new command I give you. Only God can give commands, and that's what he's doing. But here's the beauty. Jesus didn't pull rank. Hey, guess what? Because I'm God, do this now. He didn't leverage his deity. What he leveraged was his example of love. And that's why this is reproducible. That's why this is duplicatable with us, because we have the Spirit of the living God inside of us if we've trusted and believed in Jesus Christ. It says, this is why I'm asking you to do this as well. Because we can't pull rank and go, I'm God, so no. But I walk in the love of God. As he loved me, I'm going to love you as well. So that's why this last question of our 5-part series, what does love require of me? You almost know the answer before you're even finished with the question, don't you? That's why this question is so clarifying and terrifying if you will apply it, because there's no loopholes here. How many of you walk into a setting or you go to a new job or a new environment and you're like, just show me the rules. Narrow it down. Which one are the most important rules? And it's not always because you want to like make sure you don't break them. You want to know, I'm looking for the mischievous people in the room. Who else like me has a rebellious soul? You want to know the rules why, so you can figure out how to bend them. Rule benders of the world unite. By God's grace, he forgives us and pulls us into obedience into his world. I don't know if there's this goofy little video that's been going on for a long time, this video challenge. You see it on TikTok or Facebook or America's Funniest Home Video, however you get your videos. There's this stunt that's been going on for a long time. A parent will sit their child at the little table and put like a cookie or a gummy bear on the table and say, okay, I'm going to leave this one gummy bear here, and I'm going to go out of the room, and when I come back, if you didn't eat it, I'll give you 2 or 5 or whatever. My favorite one I saw this week, there's a little brother sitting at the table. They left a pile of gummy bears. So I'm going to go out of the room. Now, don't eat them. Have you seen this one? Little blonde-headed boys. The boy puts one in his mouth, and his brother smiles at him. And then he takes the whole handful and puts some chipmunk cheek in his mouth and just holds him there until he hears his mom's footprints coming back. And then he goes, he slobbers them. Technically, did he eat them? That's why we want to know the rules. I want to put the mouthful of gummy bears in my face and then slobber them out right before Jesus comes back. Can't give me Jesus. Listen, that's why you want rules. Just give me rules so I can bend them. There are no loopholes with the Jesus rule. This new command, love one another as I have loved you. So what does love require of us? We look how far Christ went to the cross. Didn't all of his disciples, other than Judas, didn't they die martyrs' deaths? They took this literally all the way to the grave. They loved as Christ loved them. Now, so is this all about love? Is this a love thing? Let me go old school a little bit for us in the music category. Never quoted Tina Turner, but I will today. What's love got to do with it? You should be so appreciative I'm not singing it because it's in my head. What's love but a second-hand emotion? I did that for my mom. Hi, Mom, watching online. I grew up on Tina Turner, thanks to my mom. Mom could do a mean Proud Mary when she was vacuuming on Saturdays, too. Now, sorry, Mom, that was too much information. But think of Tina Turner. Those of you under the age of 30 probably have no idea, but just hang with me. This offers a very true sentiment. We feel this way often. If we're like, love is just feeling, what's love got to do with it? Like, man, brokenhearted, what's love but a second-hand emotion? So that leads us to a more important question. If we're talking love, I want to make sure we're very, very clear here. Is love an action or is love an emotion? Is it something you do or is love something that you feel? And you're going, trick question, Pastor. I think I know where you're going with this. And I went this way about 4 years ago. I was looking back in old sermon notes from 4 years ago. So you might not remember this, and if you do, good for you, but it's worth repeating. I'm thinking about love as an action. I like my visual aids, and I like my toy trains. So I'm thinking about if love is an action, and we got a toy train here, and we're talking about love, and I got a train. So what would the people all around the world call this analogy? Love train. Another song. Okay. So, got the coal cars, got to go that way. So, the action of a train comes from,
engine. The engine, this is the locomotive. It causes the motion to go. So I would say if love is an action, it's the engine. This thing pulls. It has one purpose. Pull everything. This is the engine that could. It can pull the rest of the cars along. It's got to get the coal car to get the fuel. And a train without a caboose is just sad. So it's got to have a caboose. So action, engine, pulls the train. We'll call the rest of these, like the caboose, the coal car, all the other cars, these would be the feelings. They go where the actions pull them. Now, if I take away the engine, how far is our love train going to go? Yeah, not very far, about as far as gravity or momentum may have taken it. And like, well, it's stuck. You've lost that loving engine. I'm just on a song roll today. Y'all got to forgive me, man. If you don't have the loving engine, you can't go nowhere. Have you ever read the book about the little caboose that could? No, because there's no such story. The caboose can't. The caboose goes where the engine pulls it. So, excuses like, we just fell out of love. Oh, if you ever said that, I'm sorry, but you were so wrong. You were lied to by a society that says love is a feeling and only a feeling. It's an emotion and a secondhand emotion at that. So if you fell out of love, I can bet you, and I'm not a betting man, but I'll bet you $100, if you fell out of love, you quit doing the actions. Or they quit doing the actions first and you just followed suit. So when you ask the question of what does love require of me, it's not just requiring a feeling, have loving feelings toward, have nice sentimental feelings for. No, it's do something with that love. There's like one purpose. Like, come on, engine, you had one job. Jesus is narrowing it down for his disciples. I'm giving you one command. I know there's like 367 other ones in the Old Testament, and I know that people ask me, which are the most important, and I said, love God and love each other. I'm making it abundantly clear here. Love one another as I have loved you. That's going to require some action. So is love an action or an emotion? Yes. Because how many of us can do the actions if we don't feel like it? We're stubborn people. Like mama and daddy told you to do something, you did it, and then after you left their house, like, hey, mama and daddy's words don't necessarily carry a lot of weight in my own household. So if I don't want to do that thing, I don't have to do that thing. But if there's a feeling there, I feel like doing the loving things in your life. I feel like doing the things that love requires of me. And even when I don't feel it, I want to do it out of obedience to God, who, guess what, he did not feel like doing. If we read his account, before he went to the cross, and he goes to the garden instead, and in prayer, what's he lifting up in prayer? Father, take this cup away from me. Scripture says he's sweating. He is literally bleeding blood. It's a medical occurrence. It happens under incredible duress and stress. Some weightlifters, when they're doing like the deadlifts, the world record deadlifter, I saw him doing it, and when he did it, the capillaries in his forehead were breaking, and he was sweating blood. I saw like, oh, that's like Jesus. So it says he sweat blood. What's he praying? Father, take this cup from me. So it really feels like, if I'm reading the scriptures right, Jesus didn't feel loving feelings like going to the cross, but out of obedience to the Father. Father, your will be done. Done. There's a doing here. So what does love require of me? Well, for us here at Northeast Baptist Church, we made a logo about 4 or 5 years ago, and we're very intentional, and like it's got arrows because we're named Northeast. I thought that'd be kind of creative, have some directional arrows like a compass. But for us, like the arrow pointing up is saying, hey, we love God. We love God. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. It doesn't stop there, does it? There's arrows pointing out. And love others. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mi casa es su casa. Man, what do you need? What does love require of me that I would love God, but it doesn't just me and Jesus, that's all I need. No, we love others as we have been loved. And we get low, we take a knee, and we serve with humility. This is what love requires of us. If we get this even close to right, the world will know, and they will know that we are his disciples. If we get this right. Sometimes we get this wrong. Like 1 John chapter 4, verses 7, 8 says it like this: Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God. That's one of those kind of, you pause there for a second, wait, check myself. Anyone who does not love does not know God. You go, ooh, am I loving right now? Have I been honest and obedient in the question, what does love require of me? Because if it's been requiring nothing of you, guess what? You haven't been loving. And there are some seasons and days of life where I confess, and you know as well, you have not been so loving. To others at least. Maybe you loved yourself really well. Man, all about you, get you some you. Take care of number one first. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. So, I was thinking about this. Like, if you want to rupture relationships, there are so many more than just 4 ways to fail at love. But I put 4 that have been on the forefront of my mind lately. As I see love fail, as I have failed at love oftentimes as well. Here's just a couple. Let's talk about this. If you want to fail at love, you just want, man, be proud. Don't you love those arrogant people? Just be proud. Scripture says that God opposes the proud. So do spouses. So do brothers and sisters. So do sons and daughters. When we see pride, it stinks. So if you just want to fail at love, number one, just be proud. Just focus on yourself. Think about yourself. Get as much as you can for yourself at every opportunity. Be proud. That's an engine off the tracks. That's a train wreck in itself. Another way, number 2, I would say just be apathetic. Apathy, in the definition of a 3-letter word, is meh. I can't do meh well enough. I need my teenage boys to give me the meh, or Billie Eilish or somebody like meh. Like there's a generation that's kind of seems like they're growing up on meh. Be apathetic. What's the opposite of love? Say hate? No, I think the opposite of love is apathy. Apathy just doesn't care. So we'll start rolling into Easter season soon, right? We'll have this last week of Christ's life, and his last week is described with one word that starts with P. What is it? Passion. This is Passion Week. A movie called The Passion of the Christ. It's not the apathy of the Christ, right? The apathy wouldn't have gone to the cross. So if you want to fail at love, if you want to run away from the question of what does love require of me, just be apathetic. That's number 2. Number 3, I would say just starve time. Triangle, just knock the breath out of that thing. Strangle time out of a relationship, and you will kill it. And you know that's true because you think about, but we were so close. Why aren't we close anymore? Because you didn't spend time with them anymore. And so coming out of this weird pandemic season, we're still in, but we're coming out in a lot of ways. It feels like there's some people I'm getting to see again that I haven't seen in a year going, I missed them because we haven't spent any time together. Physically, at least. So if you want to choke a relationship, just choke it of its time. I thank you as a church for allowing me to take some spring break time last week, going to Big Bend area with my family, going to see the McDonald Observatory, just the galaxy that we live in. Makes me feel so incredibly small and so incredibly loved by God, who even though I'm so tiny compared to the universe, he loves us and pursues us. He wants to spend time with us. There's beauty in that. So spend time. Make time. You go, I don't have time. Make time. Don't take time. Make time. Nurture those relationships. And number 4, and I'll stop on this. Just stop listening. This is one thing that God's making me painfully aware. As I've been asking this question of myself, what does love require of me? I'm painfully aware of how much I need to listen and listen better. Listen to you, listen to my family, listen to God. haven't been so faithful in the listening. And so I've been Googling some, find some neat TED Talks about tips and tricks to be a better listener. And there's some helpful things there. And I found a song by Pomplamoose. So let's go with this. Do you remember this silly old band? And they're not old, they're still around. They're fascinatingly creative. Pamplemousse is the French word for grapefruit, in case you were curious. And I'll put a link to this song on YouTube, but they break this down. This song called Be Better at Listening. And the chorus says, because you're not that interesting. Be better at listening. You're not that interesting. And you giggled, and I was kind of offended at first. I think I'm I'm a very interesting person. I'm going, you know what? Actually, I guess I'm not. For as much as I talk, I'm not that interesting. My wife does not need to know the story about how I went to the mailbox. That's not that. She's such an incredible listener, my wife is. Goodness, she's a good listener. And she listens so patiently and attentively, and she never zones off like I do, or squirrel, gets distracted in the middle of a conversation. She's such a good listener. I'm so much failing. So this song breaks down in the like a bridge, and it gives a four. I did it again. I said the wrong number, and I put up the wrong fingers. 4, all you need is 4. There's 4 steps to being a better listener, according to Pomplamoose. Step 1, stop thinking about yourself. Step 2, focus on someone else. Step 3, ask questions like you care. Step 4, try to care. Repeat. So if you listen to the song, I apologize. It will be an earworm. It'll be in your head for weeks. So that's the first time a pastor has ever quoted Tina Turner and Pomplamoose in the same sermon. There you go. But thinking about this, and this has scriptural applications, right? This isn't just a quirky band that came up with something new. Scriptures say that let's be quick to listen, right? Slow to speak. Philippians 2 would tell us about consider others above yourself. Focus on someone else. That's what Christ did for us. What does love require of us? Let's be better listeners. Now, from one of the most helpful tools I've found in how to do what love requires of me in my family relationship with my wife, in my pastoral relationship with you, in my relationship as a son, all these things, I think what Dr. Gary Chapman created in the 5 Love Languages book. Read the book, it's a great book. You don't even have to read the book to go to the website and get some really helpful tips and understandings of who you are and how we understand love. I got the opportunity to sit down to lunch with Gary Chapman some years ago by accident because I just took the seat that was open and go, oh, it's next to the speaker. I'm such a dork. I don't know who Gary Chapman is at the time. Like, hey, so what do you do? Where are you from? He's like, oh, I wrote the book. I'm about to give the seminar. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm dumb luck like that. I always end up at the right tables to have these really fascinating conversations with some great minds. So all I have to say, Gary Chapman is not like a guy who wrote books to make money. He is a pastor's heart that wants to see people honestly loving each other, forgiving each other in really good ways. So I just kind of put what the website looks there. It's 5lovelanguages.com. Money back guarantee. If you go spend at least 10 minutes taking this quiz, I retook it yesterday because my answers change. And I'll show you what the 5 love languages are. I'm going to do them on repeat a little bit because I really want this to stick. If this is old news to you, you're still excited that I'm doing this, aren't you? Because you're like, this works. Y'all listen up. Y'all listen. So 5 love languages roll like this. Number 1 is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation would be as simple as, thank you. I love you. You look nice today. Some of us, those mean the world to us. If I get words of affirmation here, I'll go home and go, hey, guess what, honey? So-and-so said such and such. And I just, words of affirmation. That can be written as well. If you tend to hold on to people's cards or notes they've given you, hold on to those words of affirmation. Could be a little indication that this is one of your love languages. And if I say one of them that really resonates and one that doesn't, they're kind of ordered there. And it's not like you only have one. Like, honey, you got off easy. All I need is words. Well, fine, I'm not doing the dishes anymore, which leads us to the next one. After words of affirmation, number 2 is acts of service. Acts of service, you're doing the dishes, I'm mowing the lawn, I'm doing the things, I'm paying the bills that keep our house together. Or I know that your back is really sore after a hard day at work, so I'm working those magic thumbs, man. I'm giving you a back rub, more than 5 minutes. acts of service. This would be one of the love languages. Another one would be this, giving gifts, giving and receiving gifts. Gifts can be as simple as, hey, I was at the store, I saw your favorite chocolate bar, or going, hey, here's the keys to the new car, go to the driveway. Gifts can be small or big, just a thought that counts. It's like, if you know the person you love really just loves gifts because it showed that you were thinking about them. Receiving gifts is one of the love languages. Another one is quality time, which is being able to spend time together. I would say most of the time, quality time does not include a screen that you're both looking at the same time. You can watch a thing, but spend more time talking about it afterwards than you spent watching it. Like for my family hiking last week, just spending some good time walking in God's nature, looking at God's stars. That was quality time. And then one more is like physical touch. It's like just holding hands, sitting close to each other. For a married couple in a marriage relationship, this can be, all the way into physical intimacy that God created. And a lot of guys are like, yeah, that's mine. I work with one married couple. They're kind of going through a rough patch, and this was a brand new concept to them about the 5 love languages. And I asked them to take the quiz, and the guy was like, don't need it. Don't need the quiz, I'm there. Well, what's your love language? Tell your wife. Physical touch. Like, okay, well, what's like the second one? Touch me again. At least he's honest. But he took the quiz later and goes, actually, physical touch was his third on the list because he recognized quality time was so important for them and their relationship. And for them, it was also acts of service was so important. So run it through again for the sake of repetition. Let's put it in the frame of tacos. I'm sorry you're going to be hungry after we talk about this. So like words of affirmation, thank you for delicious tacos. Put it in an acts of service. I made tacos, and I did the dishes. Woohoo! Receiving gifts. Here's a taco. Quality time. Let's get tacos together. In fact, let's drive to Austin to get them. Did I just insult San Antonio? Who has better tacos, San Antonio or Austin? Torchies, though, man. Now I'm hungry. Okay, moving on. The last one, like physical touch, I want to hold you like a taco. Okay, so that's Chuckles. Now for the Star Wars nerds, we're going to get it this way. Can't help but put Han and Leia into the scenario. Like words of affirmation, I love you. Words of Han Solo, I know. Thank you, Nick. Acts of service. If you ever find yourself frozen in carbonite, stuck in Jabba's palace, if your loved one comes dressed like a bounty hunter, holding a thermal detonator and sets you free from carbonite, that's an act of service, and that's a woman you need to keep. So thank you, Princess Leia, for unfreezing Han Solo. Look at this picture. Like she's giving him the medal. That's a receiving gift. I hope he treasured that gift more than the little dice hanging from his mirror. Receiving gifts. How about quality time? Let's take off in a spaceship with our Wookiee and our brother, smiling on a road trip. Quality time. And then one more, I like this picture. Even old and gray, just, man, have an embrace. Physical touch, embrace that hug. So a little bit about the love languages there. What does love require of me? So I would ask of you, at least if you've never taken the love language quiz or haven't taken it in the last 5 years, go to the link I'll put on our show notes as well, like 5lovelanguages.com. It's free. It takes less than 10 minutes. I took mine 5 years ago, and I took it again yesterday, and my answers, they flip-flopped some. Physical touch is my number one again, where before, 5 years ago, it was quality time. So in the season of life you're in, it can be different. I think the physical touch is somewhat because of quarantine. Like we had a service here on Friday, and I shook a few hands. I haven't shaken a lot of hands over this time, just being sensitive there and careful. I was like, melting. I was like, it felt so good to shake a hand, So, 1 Corinthians 13. So familiar, almost too familiar. I wanted to look at it in a new light today. Like, I know, I got it memorized. It's on my wedding, it's on my wall, whatever. Now look at 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Paul gives one of the biggest, longest articulations about love on this. He starts by saying, well, love is patient. So run this through the filter of the relationship question. What does love require of me? Well, it's going to require you to be patient. Love is kind. What does love require of you? To be kind. Not to insult your intelligence, but let's just take this a few more steps. You see this? It does not envy. That means love requires you not to be envious. It does not boast. Don't be so braggadocious. Quit being so, it's not proud. Does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Are you the record keeper in your relationship? I told you before, there's a true story about a man who went to see a marriage counselor, and every time he went into the bathroom and the toilet paper roll was empty, he would take that empty toilet paper roll, write a date on it, and he collected them so he could take those empty toilet paper rolls to the counselor. That is a sick record keep. I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong. Just admit, it is wrong to leave the toilet paper roll empty. Is it so wrong that you need to collect the evidence and take it to a counselor? So if he would have asked the question, what does love require of me? It probably means just love requires quit griping about it and put a new roll on there. Don't take it to the counselor and try to get a marriage ref to say she is wrong. Yes, she is wrong. You are wronger and possibly a little sick to keep the record of those wrongs. Love requires of you not to keep a record of wrongs, because love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails.